Good morning, dear student. This is me, Ihtisham Al-Haq. I'm your chemistry teacher. We are going to discuss about the very first chapter of the section 1 that is related to chemistry is a physical science. Now, dear student, before we are going to discuss about the chapter 1, let me tell you that the objectives of today's lessons are chemistry. We will define chemistry. We will try to understand the different aspects of chemistry. Also, we will discuss about the branches of chemistry. Now, dear student, chemistry now. Think about your surrounding. You can see different things next to you, people. Like if I'm going to discuss, or you can say that you're sitting on your chair. It is made up of wood or plastic. You can see the fabrics, the textile you're wearing. You can see that the glass of water and many other things are next to you. All these things are related to chemistry. How these things are related to chemistry? Let me start with the definition of chemistry first. Chemistry is the study of composition, structure, and properties of matter. From these 3 points, that is composition, the decomposition, structure, and properties of matter, let me tell you about the matter first. If I'm talking about a glass of water, water is a matter. How we can define matter? A matter is anything that occupies space and have some mass also. Each and everything in this universe are matter, except some that is light and so on. So if this water is a matter, how we can study this water in chemistry? We will focus on composition. What is composition now? Composition means what this water is made up of. As you know that water is made up of 2 important parts, that is hydrogen and oxygen. The second thing is the structure now. So if our point of concern is water, the example is water over here. So what will be the structure of water? A single molecule of water is made up having angular structure. Means oxygen is in the center, one hydrogen attached to this part, another hydrogen is attached to this part. So it has an angular structure. We will discuss the shapes of different molecules in chapter 6 also. And what are the properties of this matter, the water? As you know that this water, the water is a universal solvent. It can dissolve different sorts of things in itself. So we can say that this is a property of water now. Now, with these 3 important properties, important part, that is composition, structure, and properties, we will discuss the energy changes within these processes now. For example, if the same water is converting into solid state, into ice, what will be the effect of energy in this process now? If the same water is converting from liquid into gaseous state, so what will be the impact of energy in this part right now? So all these things collectively we are going to study in chemistry now. Dear student, many other examples are in front of you, like the simple example is combustion. Combustion is a burning process now. That we are going to take a piece of paper. When we are going to lit it with a lighter, it catches fire now. So this is also a chemical processes, and this sort of processes we are going to study in chemistry now. So here are diverse examples in front of you. Think about it, and you will get maximum information about chemistry. One more example about the plants, that is photosynthesis, is a process by the help of which the plants are going to make their own food. So this process, the photosynthesis, is the process is also related to chemistry, because carbon dioxide is there, water molecules are there. They are going to combine in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, and they are going to give us a new thing, that is glucose at the end. So this is also a chemical process. So there are diverse examples. You have to think, you have to go through it, and then you have to relate to the branches of chemistry. Let we start with the very first one, that is the organic chemistry now. In organic chemistry, we are going to study about organic compounds. Now, what is an organic compound? Organic compounds are the compounds that contains carbon as the main element. Carbon. Now, dear student, think about different sorts of examples like the fossil fuels, the fuels that we are using in cars, in aeroplanes, the fuel that we are using at home like coal, natural gas. All these are the examples of organic chemistry. Let me give you more examples and we'll show you some chemical formula. So look into this one. In organic chemistry, as I told you, that organic chemistry contains carbon as the main element, the carbon. So in this case, we are going to take carbon as the main element. So many examples are there. As I told you, the fossil fuels are there. But we are starting with the natural gas, that is methane. Methane is a chemical formula of CH4. Now look into this one. If you look over here, you can see that this methane consists of carbon. So it is an organic compound. This one is an organic compound. Let me give you more example. That is the second one is glucose. In glucose, you can see that the chemical formula of glucose is C6. Just wait. The chemical formula of glucose is C6H12O6. See, again, this is auto-generated, a little bit creating trouble over here. But anyhow, dear student, now look, if we are talking about glucose, C6H12O6. Now, dear student, look into this one. This glucose again contain over here carbon. So the compound that contains carbon are known as organic compounds, and we are going to study this organic compound in organic chemistry. Now, the second one is about inorganic chemistry. Inorganic chemistry deals with the inorganic compounds. What are inorganic compounds now? The inorganic compounds are those compounds, they don't contain carbon as the main element. Let me give you some examples. So in this case, you can say that there is no carbon in the compound. So we are studying with the simple example, that is water. As you know that the chemical formula of water is H2O. So if you look very carefully into this one, there is no carbon. You can't see any carbon in this chemical formula over here. It consists of 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So if I'm going to give you one more example that is related to sodium chloride or salt, the table salt that we are using at home. So if you look into this one, you can see the chemical formula of table salt is NaCl. So in this case, again, we don't have any carbon over here. This Na is sodium, Cl is chlorine. So it is made up of 2 different elements, that is sodium and chlorine. No carbon is there. We can say that it is an inorganic chemistry. No carbons are there. Now, dear students, if we are going to compare the organic chemistry and inorganic chemistry, we can see that in organic chemistry, the mandatory element is carbon. And you can see different examples over here. While in case of inorganic chemistry, there is no carbon in the compound like water, salt, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, and many other examples are there. If we are talking about the third branch of chemistry, that is related to biochemistry. Now, dear student, look, the terms bio. The term bio means life. So the chemicals that are related to the life are known as biochemistry, are the processes, the chemical processes that are going to take place in the living organisms are termed as biochemical processes now. And we are going to study all these biochemical processes or biochemical compounds in biochemistry now. Various examples are there. If we are going to take about the simple example, that is photosynthesis. The photosynthesis is going to take place in green plants. You know that it's going to take place in green plants now. Now, in this case, as you know that in photosynthesis, the mandatory thing is carbon. That is The mandatory elements are carbon dioxide. Again, there's a carbon dioxide, CO2 plus. When carbon dioxide reacts with water, H2O, in the presence of sunlight, that is mandatory, and a green pigment, that is chlorophyll. It gives us compound that is glucose, that is C, that is just wait for a while. The chemical compound, it will give us a chemical compound that is glucose C6H12O6 plus oxygen. So this chemical process is going to take place in a living organism, that is plant now. So these sort of chemical processes and the chemicals are usually being studied in biochemistry. Same like that, another process in human being, the simple one is respiration. A simple example is respiration. It is also a chemical process that is going to take place in human body. So we are in animals, we can say that it is also being dealt in biochemistry. Now, dear student, we discussed about organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, and biochemistry. Now, the second last one is physical chemistry. If you look into the physical chemistry right now, physical chemistry is the study of properties and the changes of matter and their relation to energy. If I'm going to give the examples of this ice, let's suppose we have a glass of water, it turns into ice, and let the water converts into gaseous state. In all these three steps, so from solid into liquid into ice, there's a change in the matter. And during this change, there's a change in energy also. So when we are going to discuss the properties and the changes of the matter with respect to the energy, such a kind of chemistry is known as physical chemistry. Now, analytical chemistry. We are going to take a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. And we want to know that what are the ingredients, what are the components this coffee is made up of. In order to analyze each and every component of this coffee, we are going to study this sort of processes in another branch of chemistry we call analytical chemistry, where we are going to identify the components and the composition of material. If I'm talking about the coffee, it is made up of caffeine, definitely. The caffeine is present over there. So when we are going to identify the caffeine and the composition of the caffeine, we will study such a kind of things in analytical chemistry, where identification takes place. Now, dear student, analytical chemistry is a vast field, you know. So we are going to study this sort of experiments of this sort of you can say the problems in two ways. Either it will be qualitative or quantitative. Both of these two steps we will study in preceding chapters. The last one is theoretical chemistry. Now, this, as the name indicates over here, it's theoretical. It means that it is based on mathematics, it is based on computer understanding, and to understand the principle behind the observed chemical behavior and the design to predict the properties of the new compound. So this theoretical chemistry is mostly based on mathematics and computer. All the data is being put over there, and at the end you will get more information about the properties of a new compound. Now, dear student, in today's lesson, we discussed about the two parts, that is the chemistry and the branches of chemistry. In all these things we discussed all these things with different examples. If you have any sort of problem, any confusion, you have to feel free and comfortable to ask questions in discussion forum in Schoology. Also, there will be a live Zoom session so you can clear your doubts. Thank you very much, dear student. Have a nice day.